Hello, my beautiful boys and girls. So I woke up today and it is St. Patrick's Day, and I figured why not jump on here and do a fun little green eye look. So I already did my eyebrows. If you guys can tell, my eyebrows are already green. I used the LA Splash Classic Horror eyeshadow palette in the shade Madness, and I have already prepped my eyes with the Cover FX eye prep. So I am going to jump in and do some fun green shadows for today. We're going to use this guy here. This, of course, is the Morphe James Charles palette. And I am going to start with a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to use the shade Canvas to cover my entire eye, just to get a nice base to work with. And if you guys see me coming over here, it's because this palette is huge and I'm not going to hold it in my lap the entire time. So I have it set down a bit. And I'm just using this all over the eye, all the way from base to brow bone, to set that primer and hopefully get a smoother canvas. And what we're going to do today, I'm going to focus on one eye so I can try to cut the length of this video down. I am putting my base shade down, but I'm going to focus on one eye to try to cut this video down a little bit and work on the length of my videos. I'm not thinking entirely straight because I'm still thinking of what I'm going to try to do as far as this look goes. So what I'm going to do, I am going to dip in. We're going to start with the pencil brush. This, of course, you guys see me use all the time. It's my Crown double-ended. It's a crease shadow brush. It's number C47. And I am going to dip into the yellow shade in this palette, which is B, which I have not used before. So hopefully this works out. And I am going to place that just above my crease. And I'm using this brush just to lay the shadow down. And then I am going to go back in and blend. This color is really patchy. But that's okay. We're going to make it work no matter what in the end. Because makeup, that's what makeup's all about for me, is just kind of having a good time and playing. So this is our yellow shade laid down. And I am going to go ahead and go through and try to blend that. I'm using a ColourPop E2 brush. This is just a fluffy tapered blending brush. Actually, that blends out fairly nicely. It does take a bit of the color away, but we're not focusing on the yellow today. Anyway, we're focusing on our greens. So we'll just use this to soften it up a bit. I do actually want that color to be a little more apparent though, so I am going to take the Luxie Luminous Eye Mini Angled Brush number 131. These are the brushes that we got in BoxyCharm, and I'm going to try to go back through and lay that yellow down again. The shade, like I said, is patchy, but I know this is a pressed pigment shade. So I was kind of expecting it. I just didn't expect it to be quite as much as it was. And there is some fallout, but that's not a big deal. I didn't do my face makeup first for that reason. And this is getting dark in spots. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell, but it's a little strange because it's darkening up in some spots. Just going back in with my little fluffy blending brush. But yeah, I have some like patches in here that it's dark. I'm not sure why that is happening, but we're just going to roll with it. And now I am going to dip into the shade Daddy in the James Charles palette. I'm going to take that again. We're going to try to work with the little shadow crease brush. I love this pencil end on this brush, so you guys do see me use it a lot. And I am going to add that to the crease, and actually that color is quite beautiful. To the crease and just above, about to the halfway point. And then I'm going to put that about halfway on my lid as well. And this shade's actually quite beautiful. I really haven't dipped into the greens in this palette. I've focused mainly on the pinks and purples to this point. But it's actually quite nice. And I'm glad I chose to use this versus something else. So there is that shade down. I'm going to grab my ColourPop blending brush again. And that is blending away a little bit more than I want it to, but that's okay. This shade I really like. I'm going to have to work with this guy a lot more in the future. Not currently. It's actually not too bad. And I'm going to lay a little bit more of that color down with that Luxie brush just to keep it from being too patchy in the areas I'm seeing it blend away. Pressed pigments are harder to work with, you guys, but they're not impossible. I don't want anybody to think they're really that hard to work with or to be scared of a pressed pigment palette. I have used them for many years. They are a little harder sometimes to work with when it comes to being a little patchy and a little spotty, but as long as you take the time and effort and actually put into them, they will come out quite beautiful. I like them because, again, they're insanely pigmented, so I like having that bold eye look. Excuse me for coughing. I do feel 1,000 times better, but for some reason, every time I try to sit down and start and film, that's when the coughs decide to come back. Okay, we are going to use the shade Guac. I'm a little scared to try this shade because this is one of the shimmer shades in the palette. I'm taking it on this little itty bitty Urban Decay brush. This came with a palette quite some time ago. I think I'm actually going to declutter the palette. I was trying to pan it, but I'm kind of tired of using it. So I think it's time for it to go. And I am going to put this all over my lid and blend it into that bold daddy color. Almost to my inner corner, but I want to put a crazy pop of green in that inner corner. This shade, again, is quite beautiful. I'm kind of loving these green shades. And I'm taking that all the way up to my crease and almost out to the outer corner of my eye. And then I will add Daddy back in a bit over that because I don't want to lose that beautiful matte shade. It feels weird doing one eye at a time for me, you guys. It just does. So bear with me as I try to get used to doing that. Okay, dipping back into Daddy just to darken that outer corner back up. So about halfway onto the lid and then up through the crease, just because I really want to keep that color there. And then I am going to blend that together just slightly. And now things are going to get a little bit crazy because I am going to dip into Social Blade. And that's going to be my color for my inner corner. Hopefully it is a good shade. I really should have at least watched these before deciding to dip in and play with them, but that's just not the kind of girl that I am. So I'm using that on the very inner corner of my eye. And I am going to bring that down how I would usually use my white highlight shade because I want a crazy green inner corner today. I do have quite a lot of fallout. I'm not sure which shade that is from, but it is definitely prevalent. I'm just really building that crazy green up. And that green is actually gorgeous as well. I've probably said gorgeous quite a few times. So that is what we're working with. I am going to go ahead and clean up real quick and do the other eye off camera, and I'll be right back. You guys, random thought. Can you see the fallout from this shade? It's just crazy. Like, I had fallout over here, but for some reason the shade is like really falling out now. So I just thought I'd update you guys on that. Random thought as I'm doing this, you guys. I feel like I should have added just a touch of orange on the outside of this look. Because the yellow ended up a little darker once I blended it out, I feel like if I would have added a little orange above the yellow, a little orange above the yellow, it would have been a little, more blended, I guess, more seamless, because over here it looks a lot darker than it does on this side. It's really not that big of a deal or that noticeable. It's just me being nitpicky. But, like I said, I did have more fallout with the yellow shade on this eye for some reason. And I am having a bit more trouble blending that daddy shade on this side. But nothing horrible. Pressed pigments are fun to work with, aren't they? Okay, you guys, that's the shadow laid down. I am going to go ahead really quickly and highlight my brows. And to do that, I am going to use the shade Ring Light. I like using a shimmer underneath my brows. I don't know why. It's just always been my kind of go-to. So we're going to go ahead and pop Ring Light right there under the brows. And blend it downwards slightly. And then I will use a blending brush to pull that together. And then I have not done any of my face makeup, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come back to do my lower lash line, as well as highlight, liner, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and get this blended out real quick. So I just take a big fluffy brush and kind of run that along the line. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to clean up, I'm going to do my face makeup, and then we'll come back and do the lower lash line, have some fun with some glitters, and yeah, that's what we're doing today. Okay, so I got the mess of eyeshadow off of my face. I did just go ahead and moisturize. Today I'm using the Neutrogena Hydra Boost Water Gel, because if you guys haven't noticed, my face is a little red. I got a little bit too much sun. So this moisturizer, one, it's drugstore, so it's really cheap. But also, it feels great on a very irritated face. I'm going to go ahead and clean this side up just a touch more. I did make those lines very sharp. I don't know why, it's just what I chose to do today. I may still blend them out a bit, and I may not, because we are going to play with glitter today, and I'm very excited about that because you guys know I love playing with glitter. I'm going to go ahead and go in. I'm trying to use this up. This is the Cover FX Illuminating Primer Base. So I'm going to use this all over my face because I am using a very matte foundation today. Partially because I want to try to camouflage some of the redness in my skin. And you guys, I'm only putting on like the tiniest little dot each little bit you see me use. So it's actually a lot less than it seems. So I just put on a little bit of my face at a time when I'm using these illuminating primers. And I got a little bit too much on my nose, so I'm going to go ahead and try to pull that down. But you guys can see like how dewy this actually makes your skin. This is actually a really nice primer. And it doesn't have a bunch of silicone fillers and stuff in it. So that's another thing that I like about it. You guys, that green in the inner corner of my eye is amazing. That was that Social Blade color. And I am definitely going to do a green look here soon. I'm trying to decide. There's two different bands that I listen to that are both older bands that both have very strong green themes to them. So I'm wondering if maybe I should do like a theme eyeshadow look. And for some reason that yellow on this eye is not looking the same, but we're just gonna run with it. I almost want to add in, let me look here real quick, you guys, because I know there's an orange shade in this palette, and I feel like there's a little bit of an orange tint here for some reason. Let's see. or you can use that. We're going to dip into the shade Code James. And I just want to add that in because I'm feeling like I look very uneven. So I'm dipping in just slightly on that little Luxie eyeshadow brush with the shade Code James. And I'm going to apply it right in this area where I feel like it's not blended exactly the same. I don't know why that happened, but it did. So I'm just trying to kind of match it up slightly. There we go. Feeling a little better about that, just to add in a little bit of that orange shade. Given I already have my shimmer on, but that's okay. But just for some reason it was looking like there was orange there, which I did not put there. So, you know, you guys, you just got to kind of adjust and adapt as you go if things don't work out exactly as you had them planned. And then I'm amping it up on this side a bit as well. And then I will go back in with my B color and smooth that out. I know this was not part of the plan, guys. But that's okay. And then just tapping B right along my green just to bring it back. And this shade was definitely a bit more problematic for me. But again, it's something that I can kind of sit and work with and play with. So I can handle it. If I get the color I want, I can deal with formula issues and whatnot. And I'm really tapping that on lightly. And I like that much, much better. I feel like it's much more even. And then I'm just going to take my ColourPop brush and kind of sweep it through there real quick so I don't lose the color. But everything blends together a lot better. And I feel so much better about that. I know you guys in this lighting, I have to always change my lighting for you guys. So you can really see the look once I pick you up. But it was bothering me, so I fixed it. I know, I'm a perfectionist. Okay, back to foundation. Today I am going to use this is the Hard Candy Glamouflage Full Coverage Foundation. It's in the shade 1504. You guys, this stuff smells like paint. I'm not gonna lie. It is not a pleasant smelling foundation. But I like the way it looks, so I do continue to use it, at least until it is gone, because I'm sure there are things in here that are not so good for me. So what I do, I lay down about half of my face at a time, and then I blend. And I've talked about the sponge I'm going to use 1,000,002 times. This is the L'Oreal Infallible sponge. It is very dirty, and I need to probably pick up a new one here soon. But I just go turn around and bounce that everywhere to blend my foundation. Got a little bit too much on our nose, but that's okay. If we need to, we can always use the beauty sponge to pick that up. That's the nice thing about using a beauty sponge. I want to start trying to convince myself to use a brush, because I do feel a lot of my foundations would go on a lot nicer with a brush. But I don't have one currently. So if anybody has any recommendations for a good foundation brush for me, let me know so I can pick it up and try it out, especially when I don't want a super, super expensive foundation brush just because I'm not used to applying with one. If I like it, I'll go ahead and go back in and pick some up that are more expensive, but for now, I just want to find a cheap little foundation brush. Okay, guys, I'm going to finish up my foundation and I'll be back. Alright, so the next thing I usually do after foundation, I prep my lips. That way it has time to soak in. I am going to use the Jeffree Star Pumpkin pumpkin pie lip scrub. And of course, you guys see it falling everywhere. But yeah, I just pat that on my lips. I rub slightly, and then I rub my lips together. And then I apply, if I can get the container to close, I try to make sure I get all the sugar crystals from around my lips. Yes, I lick half of it off because it's not going to hurt me, and well, it tastes good. This is the Jouer Lip Enhancer Lip Conditioning Treatment. I love this stuff, and I'm sad because it's almost gone. I first got this in Birchbox many years ago, and I loved it, so I had to buy it. I didn't buy it many years ago. I just tried it many years ago. It is kind of expensive for what it is, but it really works nicely. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bronze, I'm going to powder my face, and then I'll be back. Guys, I am not happy with my face makeup overall today. I'm just not feeling it. Usually I really like that foundation. It works nicely for me, but it is just not making me happy today. But you guys know me, I don't redo, so we're just going to keep rolling with it. We're going to get some powder on, and hopefully that'll help. I did use the Tarte Shape Tape concealer under my eyes today, which I don't do very often, but I felt they were looking a little dark. So I'm taking my little beauty sponge here to press out the creasing before we set our face. And honestly, I think that was a mistake, but it is what it is. I'm going to use the Becca Soft Light Finishing Powder like I always use in the shade Golden Hour. To go ahead and set my face. And I might be setting some creases into this face today because things are just not working out as intended. But I'm okay with the eye look, so at least there's that, right? I always take my little beauty sponge and press out anything that I think is going to crease before I powder. Just to try to keep that creasing down to a minimum. I don't need to add any more wrinkles to this face because there's enough of them there, I promise you. And then one thing I'll do too to keep from looking too cakey, and I'll do this in a moment, is I'll use a dewy setting spray when I finish my makeup. So there is that. You guys, I'm almost out of this powder, and that's why you're seeing it fluff everywhere, because I've had to take the sifter off the top in order to get into the product, because it's gotten to the point where it will not sift out anymore. So I have to take my brush actually right directly into the product. So it does get a little messy. All right, let's go ahead and finish up our lower lash line. And let's see, I think we're going to stick with Social Blade underneath our eye, and then we'll use Daddy on the outer corners. Just because I know we're going to use some glitter. So taking a little packer brush in the shade Daddy, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that on the outer corner of my eye and bring it up into the wing I created earlier with the makeup wipe. I'm not too worried about this matching up perfectly because I do, you guys know, I use winged liner. So that's going to cover up any seam that I have there. And again, dipping into the shade Daddy. And just dragging that along my lower lash line and up through the wing. Or up through where I'm going to place my wing, I should say. Because there's no wing there yet. And yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and just drag Social Blade into that dark green today. I didn't really have a plan on what I was going to do there, so we're going to go with that. So just dipping back into Social Blade and bringing that into Meet Up with Daddy. That shade, saying that shade name is weird. I don't know why. It just struck me as weird, so you guys know I say things off the top of my head. So that is our shadow for today. I want to go ahead and dip back into Daddy just a little bit on this eye because I don't like how it looks on the outer corner. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and take just a little tiny detail brush. This is the Luxie. This is the mini flat angled brush. It's number 111. This was from the Luminous Eye Set. And I'm just going to run that along. I'm going to make sure it's clean. And I'm going to run that along these shadows just to smoke them out slightly. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, guys. I am going to use a green liner in my waterline. I will be using my favorite green liner of all time. I've talked about this a million times on my channel. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in the shade Junkie. And then I'm going to use a liquid liner on my upper lash line so I can add a heavy wing. And then I'm going to add lashes and I'll be back. We'll do some glitter and we'll do some highlighter. So I'll be back. Okay, you guys, so I went ahead and I applied my eyeliner and I may have made a mistake because I decided to do some glitter too. And I want to do a big chunky glitter, so we may be on glitter overkill today. So the liner I used was this is the Wet n Wild Mega liner. And I like this stuff for creating. I think it works great. And then I used one of my glitters that I got in a set from Amazon. And honestly, I'm not sure that I love it, but we're going to go with it. And we're still going to use our chunky glitter. And this is the shade glitter I used. These things are super cheap. Honestly, I don't even know if they had a brand. You can buy a whole pack of them on Amazon for like $6. And honestly, I just wanted colored glitters. So let's go ahead. We're going to add our mascara. This, of course, is the Urban Decay Perversion Mascara. And I think I'm about done with this mini. So sadly, I'm either going to have to go buy another one, which I think I'd stick with the mini if I buy it again, just because I know how I like the way the formula to work. But I do love, love, love this mascara. I just have so many right now. Like, this is one of my favorites for sure. But I have so many mascaras right now I need to use. That's one of the things with getting subscription boxes, you guys, is we get black mascara so often. Everybody talks about how often we get black eyeliner, but we get black mascara just as much. So that is our complete eyeshadow look. We could stop here, but I don't want to. I want to have some fun with big chunky glitter. And hopefully it doesn't destroy this look. So right now we're kind of at that like fun, festive stage. But I'm not a normal person. I like being extreme. You guys know this. So we're going to try to add in some fun glitter. And to do that, I am going to use my Apocalyptic Beauty glitter. This is the shade Dubious Dragon. You guys, this glitter is gorgeous. Let me try to show you from the bottom. So that is what the chunky glitter we're working with today is going to look like. And as usual, this gold is not working out. For some reason, this gold and these little cheap glitter liners, they stick and they stay wet for far longer than they should. And it's very frustrating because I'll get a beautiful look that I like, and then I'll end up with glitter everywhere because it decided to stick to my lid. It figures. It's okay, the lashes are mostly covered up anyway. I'm rambling, and let's go ahead and get this glitter on. Now, to do my glitter, I usually use a concealer brush. This is the It. Well, is this the It one? No, this is a BU Beautifully concealer brush, and then a glitter glue. This one's from Five Below, guys. This is Second Love glitter glue. All glitter glues are created equally in my mind, so. But I tap that on the edge of the brush, and then I pat it on where I want it, which we're going to focus this mostly towards the outer corner of our eye, and bring it maybe about to the middle point. And I'm just going to lay down some chunky fun glitters just because I can and just because I want to today. And then I have a little brush that I use for glitters. This is, let's see, it's an e.l.f. flat eyeliner brush. And I just take and get the glitter on the brush and then I pat it on. And it is going to fall everywhere and make a big mess in the process. But it doesn't really bother me because if I'm playing with funky glitters, I'm not really caring on that day. But that is how I use my chunky glitter. I'm going to go ahead and get that laid down because it is a messy process, and I'll be back to finish up my look. Okay, you guys, the glitter got away from me today, but I'm kind of loving what ended up happening. I thought this was a bit too thick down here, so I decided to follow it up to my brow, and I think it's super fun just for today. I wouldn't wear this every single day, but for a fun St. Patty's look, why not? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to finish up my glitter on this side, I'm going to get my lashes on, and I'll be back to throw some highlighter on, and maybe a lip. I haven't decided what lip to use because, believe it or not, I don't have a really good green lip. But I'll be back, you guys. Alright, you guys, our glitter is done, and I'm seriously loving how crazy and insane it looks, because it's really about having fun today. I'm going to do my lashes. I'll be back to do highlighter and lips. Alright, my beautiful friends, so this is my completed eye look today. I did have a few little issues when I